Hello, everybody. We played No Rest for the Wicked, and I can safely say that I am head over heels in love with this game. So much so that I played this tiny snippet of the intro for like 17 hours or something like that. And here's a tweet from Moon Studio CEO showing that we have the most kills out of all those who are playing the pre-access build. I am addicted. It's going to be a problem, but it's a fantastic problem. So let's get started talking about the game and my experience with it. Let's start with what No Rest for the Wicked is. Now that I've played, I have a better idea about what this game actually is. This is an upcoming, very unique ARPG from the devs over at Moon Studios, creators of the Ori series that is playable both solo or in up to 4-player co-op, and it's going to be launching into early access on April 18th of this year, so we do not have very long to wait at all, thank goodness. You'll notice that I said it's a very unique ARPG, and that is a goal that the devs have for this game. No Rest for the Wicked has been described as an ARPG akin to something like Diablo or Path of Exile, but it takes an entirely different approach to multiple aspects that we would expect from this genre. Combat feels very soulsy. It's deliberate, precise, and brutal, with inspirations from, of course, the Souls series, but also Monster Hunter. The world isn't procedurally generated, the level design is all handcrafted, and this is another aspect that feels very Souls-like for those familiar with Souls level design. Loot is all random though, besides keys and tutorial-based items, but we will get into more specifics with loot a little bit later. Classes is the other thing that's also very different. Moon Studios describe it as a soft class system, but what this means in game is that you don't select a class at all. What weapons you can use is based on a scaling system, which is exactly like you would see in Souls games. You have health, stamina, various scaling attributes such as strength and dex, and then a stat that deals with your focus bar, which we will explain in our combat section, as well as an equip load stat. So where does the ARPG part come in at all if so many of this feels inspired by the Souls series? I was asking the same question and I didn't quite get it until I played it. So from my experience, the loot is a huge part of how it is an ARPG. The loot in No Rest for the Wicked is completely random, like you would experience in a traditional ARPG, and this loot comes in 4 different rarities. White, which is the most customizable, blue, which only has positive effects, purple, also known as cursed items, which have very positive effects but also come with a negative effect, and then gold, which are curated unique items. So everything besides the gold rarity loot is not only random, but all of the effects on that loot is also randomly generated. And those effects that can be on weapons and armor can create some very cool combos and builds. For example, I had a run through No Rest for the Wicked where I found a bunch of cursed items that made me not able to receive healing over time. So I ended up finding some items that boosted my overall healing. So even if I couldn't get the effects of some things that heal me over time, I was still getting a pretty good amount of health back from every food that I ate because I circumvented the cursed nature of those items with healing more from food in general. This is where I finally understood the ARPG aspect. Every run I did of this slice of No Rest for the Wicked, which I did, I think about 8 runs or something like that. That might be off, but it was a lot. I don't remember exactly how many. But every time I did, I found something different that led me to trying an entirely different build. Magic build that gets focused super fast to cast more spells, a dex build that's super light with crazy stamina regen. But every run, I found something different, or I found effects in weapons and armor that I had found before that made me create a completely different way of playing. Finding loot was always exciting, whether it was a weapon, armor, or rings. And if I can feel excited about every loot drop in a tiny portion of just the intro of this game, that bodes very, very well for the full release. And all of this loot felt incredible to use in this game's outstanding combat. Combat in this game is so good. It's so good. It's crunchy, visceral, weighty, yet feels so fluid with incredible animations and audio behind every single move. There's all the ingredients you would expect here. You've got parries, dodging, standard hit combos, heavy attacks, magic, ranged combat, and managing stamina. One thing that does differ from Souls, however, though, is the focus system. This is shown by this orange bar above your health bar. There is no mana bar or ammo in this game. Everything from magic attacks, shooting arrows, and melee weapons special attacks are all performed using this focus bar resource. The way you gain focus is by being active in combat. So that means that landing hits is going to grant you focus. And if you land a parry, it will fill your entire focus bar back. I'm pretty sure it's not going to fill every single focus bar because you can eventually get more than one focus bar. But parrying does fill one focus bar, which is a big deal. But this does mean that you can't just sit back and sling magic at everything like you would as a traditional mage, unless you stack up on these focus potions. I suppose you can find these focus potions around the world that give you a full bar of focus when you drink it. So I guess if you have enough of those, or maybe in the full release, if you are just farming to have a stock of focus vials forever, then you could sit back and do a traditional mage playstyle. But generally, that's not going to be your experience if you're using magic in this game, which I absolutely love this. Personally, love, 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 love. I generally don't enjoy magic in any games, and I think it's just because it's generally a bit more passive and playing back. But in No Rest for the Wicked, I thoroughly enjoyed my full mage playthrough. It might be because of the sick, almost kind of bow staff moveset of the gnarled staff, but it's largely due to me essentially being a battle mage. I'm switching between different staff melee combos, blinking away, parrying, and then doing a massive AoE. It all felt super active and so damn fun, to the point that I think I would thoroughly enjoy doing an entire magic playthrough, which in every other game, I just don't do that. Playing with every single weapon in this build of the game has made me have no idea whatsoever what I would ultimately enjoy using in the full release. Normally, I like to be a kind of ninja, dex kind of playstyle. I also love poisons, I love bleed, but generally I go dex with some kind of status effect stuff. But I did a full run where I was fat rolling, heavy fat rolling with a claymore. Don't normally do that. Dagger wielding, fast bow user was also really fun. Magic was fun. And this is, again, really good news and bodes very well for this game, because I thoroughly believe that every playstyle will be enjoyed, and we will end up seeing a wide variety of playstyles and builds in the full game, because they're all really, really, really fun. So it just ends up being, what do you want to do this time? What do you tend to like the look of the most? It's very, very good. This bodes very well. Now let's talk about exploration, because I would describe No Rest for the Wicked as a wide linear experience. There is a clear A to B path through the stage, at least from what we experience in this little snippet. But there are so many places that you can venture off into to search for shortcuts, secrets, some loot. The map is also very vertical, and your character can climb on just about anything. So exploration feels extremely vast. And most importantly, the exploration is super duper rewarding. This build of the game offers about an hour to an hour 30 of gameplay, but my first time through, I scoured every part of the map in about 3 hours. And all of that time exploring was respected and rewarded with awesome loot finds, weapons, armor, rings, upgrade materials, recipes for food, recipes for armor, recipes for weapons, recipes for tools, as well as finding a bunch of places to cut wood, to mine, to dig, and of course to pick up food. So I went into the boss fight with an absolute ton of heals because I scoured the area to find ingredients to cook food. So I had I had like 20 of each heal on me for the boss fight. These devs just freaking get it, man. The world perfectly entices you to explore. There's subtle camera changes and lighting that shows you places you might want to try to find and explore them. It's exploration done perfectly well. It kind of reminds me when I was playing Elden Ring. Obviously, these are pretty different games, and Elden Ring is an open world game. But in Elden Ring, everywhere I looked, I found somewhere that I wanted to explore. And when I explored, I always found something that was interesting and it was always rewarding. And that is exactly how it felt in No Rest for the Wicked. I saw something, I wanted to explore it, I went there, and I was rewarded for exploring it. So that is my general overview of the game. I will be doing some in-depth looks at each individual things to show you more information about it if you're interested in really delving a little bit deeper into what this game is. But man, to express how I feel about this game, it's really difficult because I'm just obsessed. If I can try and portray it to you, I was playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game that I have been incredibly excited about for a long time. I did many, many hours of Rebirth the day before I played No Rest for the Wicked. When I played No Rest for the Wicked, it made me only want to play No Rest for the Wicked. So I think that kind of says a lot because Rebirth is great and I'm really enjoying Rebirth. But No Rest for Wicked has just absolutely stolen my heart. I generally do really enjoy ARPGs, making builds, farming for loot, all of that I absolutely love. But I always tend to fall off as I get deeper into the game because it doesn't have the combat that is my ideal version of combat. I can enjoy it for quite a long time, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is definitely standing off against a powerful foe, learning their moves, and being precise with my hits, parries, or dodges. Combat that invites you to master it and to improve. No Rest for the Wicked is all of these things I love in one single game, and it's delivered with some of the most beautiful art and animations that this industry has to offer. If you have not played the Ori games, you absolutely should, because Moon Studios is just an absolute master of art, animations, beautifully telling a story through the subtleties of character animations. And we see that even more so in No Rest for the Wicked because these are humans and they look very human, but it's very stylized. And even just the way that they create the king's face, for example, you know right away that he's a bit of an asshole. And you know from the subtleties that happen in the characters' faces what they're trying to portray before they even say anything. It's incredible work. There's not many games that come along that I think to myself, I can main this game. This can be a staple of my Twitch channel, of my YouTube, of my life, of my community. But yeah, I absolutely feel that way about No Rest for the Wicked. And I'm a massive hype man for this game. And I apologize in advance as I will be screaming about how good this game is for a very, very long time. Thank you to the devs for allowing me to play your wonderful game. You're all so talented, and I can't wait for the rest of the world to experience this game. You all are going to be just as in love and obsessed as I am. I hope that you get to play it. Maybe there'll be a public beta before April 18th. I don't know, but you guys are going to love it when you get your hands on it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that I got you excited about No Rest for the Wicked, or maybe told you a little bit about the game further than you knew. If you want to drop by our Twitch channel to catch all of this live, that would be awesome. And make sure to stay tuned for more Rest for the Wicked, because I'm going to be diving deeper into combat, into loot, into various systems in the game. And I want to really get stuck in there. So if you do have any questions about the game, please do let me know in the comment section, because I will use them to absolutely answer in these follow-up No Rest for the Wicked videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.